Can you believe some discoveries stay buried for ages without anyone knowing they even exist? When they finally come out, they look nothing like the objects we see in regular history books. Certain pieces carry shapes or patterns that feel linked to people we never learned about. Tools, markings, and broken parts appear in places that hint toward a group we cannot name. These finds do not shout their story, but they also come with a mystery. Well, in this video, you see some hidden archaeological finds that don't look like regular museum objects, so don't miss any part. Let's begin. Number 15. Iron Age Settlement. Time Capsule. Penrith, Clifton Dykes, England. Start with a field that looked ordinary for decades, except to a small amateur archaeological group that refused to stop returning. Their quarter-century habit finally broke open the ground's secret. 10 Iron Age roundhouses arranged in a formation that suggested a settled community, not a fleeting camp. Around those circular homes, nearly 5,000 artifacts surfaced. Domestic pieces, tools, fragments of life that somehow endured unchanged. Beneath them lay 900 skeletons, older than the medieval chapel long believed to mark the site's earliest sacred point. The discovery overturns the idea that northwest England sat mostly empty in the Iron Age, because the density of structures and belongings signals steady habitation. River routes sit close enough to imply trading paths rather than isolation. What seemed like quiet farmland revealed an organized population layered beneath the chapel's foundations, holding evidence that movement and exchange shaped this region far earlier than expected. Number 14. Collapsed Mayan city inside a volcano. Lake Atitlan, Guatemala. Imagine descending through still water and finding architecture instead of an open lake bed. That was the moment divers experienced in April 2022, when a late pre-classic Maya settlement appeared 70 feet below Lake Atitlan's surface. The site did not erode into ruins over time. It dropped, an entire section of the city pulled downward by volcanic forces around 2,000 years ago. Remains of columns sit upright in the sediment. Ceremonial stones rest exactly where the collapse froze them, and fractured walls scatter across the slope like frozen debris from a single violent event. The caldera's volatile history supports the idea of a sudden shift rather than gradual subsidence. Nothing in the underwater layout resembles the better-known Maya highland or coastal centers, giving this sunken enclave an identity shaped entirely by the disaster that consumed it. Each dive reveals more blocks trapped in the same arrangement that the collapse created. Number 13. Mykolivka, Mykiv. Treasures, Ukraine. Picture two sisters in 1878, Nastya and Ekaterina Danilchuk, stumbling onto objects that should have defined a complete archaeological set. The find held the crown of Darius, golden wolves crafted with Scythian precision, and jewelry bearing the same cultural language. The moment the treasure reached public knowledge, its unity began to unravel. By 1936, financial pressures led the Lviv Mortgage Bank to sell the items individually, dissolving any chance to study them as a coherent group. Museums in Berlin, Vienna, and Budapest now display fragments of the original discovery, while several pieces no longer have traceable locations. Because the artifacts were separated, researchers face a puzzle with missing corners: regal symbolism in one institution, animal motifs in another, and no physical context connecting them. The objects survive, but the overarching story they once represented exists only in partial outlines scattered across Europe. Number 12. Oldest basket in the world, Maraba Cave, Israel. A cave shelf in Maraba held a woven container that should have collapsed thousands of years ago, yet every strand stayed firm. The lid still closes cleanly, a rarity for anything surviving 10,500 years. Tests confirm its age, placing it at the beginning of settled culture, when Jericho was forming roughly 10 millennia ago. The basket opened to nothing, no food remnants, no tools, leaving its intended use unanswered. Its craftsmanship shows practiced weaving rather than an experimental attempt, suggesting a community already familiar with producing durable storage pieces. The cave's unusually stable environment shielded the fibers, allowing a fragile object to remain almost fully intact. Instead of fragments, researchers received a complete container from a population shifting between mobile life and early settlement patterns, preserved through conditions that favored dryness and stillness rather than decay. Number 11. Sistine Chapel of the Ancient World, 12,500-year-old art, Colombia. Researchers reaching an isolated cliff in the Amazon in November 2020 didn't just find a few drawings, they stepped into a corridor of art stretching almost 8 miles. The age of the work reaches back around 12,500 years, and each stretch of rock carries another sequence of scenes. Horses run alongside mastodons and sloths, while other figures slip into shapes that don't match any familiar species. Human handprints appear like quiet markers, and several figures seem suspended mid-motion, almost as if the artists intended to show a kind of bungee jumping leap. The location itself, cut off by humidity and dense forest, became the artwork's guardian. The difficulty of reaching the cliffs protected the pigment far beyond expectations. The mural moves in long, uninterrupted bands, recording a world full of animals now gone and people who captured their surroundings with remarkable confidence. Number 10. Medieval European Masks of Shame. Across medieval European towns, public punishment often relied on spectacle rather than force, and masks of shame became one of the era's most recognizable tools. These metal devices were built to fit tightly around the face, leaving the wearer exposed and uncomfortable. Their use spanned from the Middle Ages through the 18th century, with each design tailored to a specific offense. A long-tongued mask targeted gossip, while pig-shaped forms marked those deemed unclean. Once placed on a person, the mask turned them into a living announcement of their alleged wrongdoing. Crowds gathered, not to restrain the wearer, but to witness the humiliation. The practice traveled briefly into colonial America before fading from use. The design of each mask carried its own message, turning metal craftsmanship into a form of social judgment. Number 9. 400-year-old armillary sphere ring. At rest, the object poses as a simple ring, smooth, compact, and easy to overlook. But once its bands slide apart, a complete armillary sphere forms in the air, built from multiple interlocking rings that frame a symbolic sun or earth at the center. Zodiac markings curve along the bands, echoing celestial divisions used for centuries. The idea behind this miniature instrument arose independently in Greece and China, where similar tools modeled the structure of the heavens. Many versions served symbolic purposes, yet finely crafted examples handled real proportional and astronomical measurements. Its shifting shape, moving from jewelry to scientific model and back again, reflects a blend of precision engineering and ornamental design. Each movement reveals another layer of skill built into a device small enough to wear. Number 8. Aztec Cachinami/Cachinami Flying Shield. Artifacts, Mexico. Among certain Aztec artifacts are scenes showing lizard-like beings balanced on circular platforms, a visual language tied to stories of messengers who moved between humans and the gods. These pieces, known as Cachinami or Cachinami, show the figures standing on what resemble flying shields. Interpretations vary widely. Some researchers see symbolic storytelling rooted in ritual tradition. Others argue the pieces are misunderstood because the surrounding cultural context has disappeared. Fringe theorists add a speculative angle, suggesting links to ancient alien narratives, though evidence never reaches a definitive point. The artifacts leave gaps in every direction. No confirmed maker, no surviving explanation, and no written account to anchor their purpose. What remains is the imagery itself, carrying hints of a belief system now separated from the framework that originally supported it. Number 7. Reliquary of Mary Magdalene, Met Museum, New York. Tuscany's metalworkers of the 14th to 15th century produced objects that often balanced devotion with technical finesse, and this reliquary reflects that blend from first glance. Copper provides the frame, gilded silver brightens the exterior, and rock crystal forms a protective chamber around its center. Inside that chamber rests a verre églomysé painting, a small panel meant to enhance the devotional setting around the relic it claims to present, a tooth associated with Mary Magdalene. The object carries its claim without proof. Testing cannot confirm authenticity, leaving the identification permanently unresolved. The reliquary's visual structure relies on layers of materials working together rather than on the certainty of its contents. Metal, crystal, and painted glass guide the viewer's attention toward the heart of the piece, where belief and craftsmanship meet without offering a final answer about what lies within. And now let's move to Number 6. Wingfield Digby Bishop's Crozier, Walrus Ivory. Centuries of alterations left their mark on this bishop's crozier, yet the foundational carving remains unmistakably walrus ivory strengthened with bone. The piece emerged in Norway, where the carved figures and motifs quickly drew interest. St. Olaf stands out among the imagery, and another figure, possibly St. Augustine, appears woven into the curling foliage that decorates the staff. The design traces its symbolism to the rod of Aaron, aligning the crozier with long-held representations of spiritual authority. Scenes unfold across the carved surfaces, each detail shaped to fit the staff's curve. Later modifications adjusted parts of the decoration, but the original ivory work continues to define the object. Rather than presenting a single focal point, the crozier invites the viewer to follow each relief as it wraps around the staff's form. Number 5. Arm Reliquary of Saint Fiacre, Met Museum, New York. A reliquary shaped to mirror the limb it protects carries a particular visual impact, and this 13th century piece uses that silhouette deliberately. Silver plating forms the outer surface, while rock crystal panels open small windows into the interior chamber. Glass gems scatter color across the metal, adding brightness to the otherwise restrained structure. The relic it claims to guard is the arm of Saint Fiacre, the 7th century Irish figure known for healing traditions. At the top, the sculpted hand rises in a blessing posture, echoing the saint's association with care and spiritual guidance. The object leans on gesture and material rather than narrative inscription, allowing the combined elements to express its purpose. Its form remains clear even without a written explanation, relying on shape and texture to convey meaning. Number 4. 1,000-year-old shaman's psychedelic bag, Bolivia. The discovery began with a tightly wrapped bundle uncovered high in the Andes in 2019, its contents preserved by the cold, dry mountain environment. Inside the bag, researchers found materials linked to ayahuasca preparation, indicating knowledge of potent plant mixtures 1,000 years ago. A fox snout pouch lay among the items, along with llama bone spatulas carved for mixing or transferring substances. Small wooden snuff tablets completed the group, hinting at a set designed for multiple ritual actions rather than a single use. The bundle's abandonment raises the possibility that its owner, a shaman familiar with these preparations, may have died suddenly, leaving the tools undisturbed. The collection provides insight not through written explanation, but through the arrangement of the items themselves, which outline a practice frozen at the moment it was last used. All right, now check the next one. Number 3. 12th century Apsara carving, Angkor, Cambodia. What first appears to be just another section of the Takao Gate Causeway turns out, on closer inspection, to hold a carving that only came to wider notice in May 2022. Set quietly into the stone is an Apsara figure, unfinished in some areas, but still graceful enough to echo the celestial dancers tied to water and cloud imagery in Khmer tradition. Its placement hints that it once belonged to a larger decorative band, though time has erased surrounding details. The discovery's surprise lies not only in the carving's condition, but in how routinely it was passed without recognition in a site known for heavy archaeological attention. The remaining lines preserve a small trace of 12th century sculptural style, offering a narrow but vivid look at how temple reliefs once unfolded along the gateway. Number 2. Galileo's geometric and military compass. Rather than inventing in isolation, Galileo often responded to real problems his contemporaries faced, and the geometric and military compass he created in 1597 grew directly from that approach. The surviving 1606 version carries engraved scales meant to handle calculations in geometry, ratios, and proportional measurement. Military users depended on it for artillery placement and distance assessments, while mathematicians employed it for quicker numeric comparisons. Metal components shift into alignment, allowing values to be set with controlled precision. The tool's compact form hides the range of tasks it can perform, condensing several methods into a single handheld mechanism. It introduced a way to work through complex relationships without pages of written computation, giving its users an applied solution rather than demanding theoretical depth to understand it. Number 1. Lubombo Bone, oldest mathematical artifact. The Lubombo Mountains yielded a small object in the 1970s that changed how researchers viewed early numerical awareness. Inside Border Cave, a bone fragment appeared ordinary until its carved notches were counted, 29 marks running along a surface dated to roughly 44,000 years. The spacing suggests intentional rhythm, possibly tied to menstrual cycles or lunar intervals. Because the bone is incomplete, the full tally may once have extended further, making the surviving sequence only a portion of the original record. Although its purpose cannot be fully reconstructed, the notches stand out as clear evidence of deliberate pattern keeping. The fragment offers a rare glimpse into early cognitive tracking, captured in markings that remain readable long after their makers disappeared from the historical timeline. If these findings sparked fresh curiosity, consider subscribing so you're here for the next reveal. Hit like to keep the momentum steady, drop a comment with whatever caught your eye, and share the video with someone. Support like yours shapes what I create, and I'm genuinely thankful for the time you chose to spend here today.